Hey everyone, we are here for our next session. We have Dennis, who's the Director of Developer Experience at Tendermint, which is part of the Cosmos ecosystem. He'll be doing a talk on Starport, how to start building DeFi in minutes. Once he starts talking, can you guys confirm in the chat that you can hear him?
Hello, everyone. My name is Dennis, and I'll start from a short introduction about Cosmos Network itself. What is it? So Cosmos is a community of people and a growing set of tools and libraries that allow building blockchains. And the vision of Cosmos is this network of blockchains that are interconnected with each other, that send data between each other. And it's a slightly different vision in a way of building blockchain applications. So the way it was up until very recently is that we've had a number of very good tools that allow us to build applications in any languages with Tendermint Consensus Engine. And then we have a very powerful framework that allows rapidly building applications, blockchain applications with Go. But all the applications that were there in the ecosystem were very full-featured, but they were a bit disconnected. So, and only recently with the latest version of the SDK, we're coming very close to the vision of Cosmos, of this huge network where blockchains are connected. And it can look something like this. It's maybe a bit chaotic. The topology of the network might be very weird in some sense. So it's not necessarily hub and spoke or anything that we might have seen before, right? It's very sort of biological evolutionary style. And one of these, every circle in this graph is basically a blockchain, and there are connections between them. So some are large, some are smaller. But the main idea is that your application can actually be part of this growing network, right? So one of these circles can be your blockchain. And when we got to this point where we have the tools, we have the libraries, we finally have the protocol that allows us to send data between blockchains and achieve this interoperability that we're aiming for, we thought, is it easy enough to build these applications? Like, can we make it even simpler for new developers to adopt this paradigm? Because right now, when you talk about blockchain development, you pretty much think about smart contracts, right? So you write smart contracts for popular blockchain platforms, you upload, you have this network effect of other developers building applications, and you can interoperate with them. And even though it seems decentralized, and it is in a way, the infrastructure is decentralized, but at the end of the day, most of the time you're working within a single blockchain, right? And if we think about what is it within this blockchain, it's a database, right? And what really happens is a lot of applications with completely different ideas and completely different functions operate on a single database, right? Why do they do that? Well, because they want to interoperate with each other, which is good, but this is a different model and it's been working great. And we think that it can really change the way people build their decentralized applications. So instead of thinking like smart contracts, you think application-specific blockchain. So a blockchain that is catered for your application, and you connect with other blockchains in this weird network. So what we try to do is kind of distill what are the steps necessary for doing that, right? So first of all, of course, you need to be able to create blockchains, and the easier it is, the more people can do that, and the bigger the network will become. So even though we have Cosmos SDK, which is a fantastic tool for building blockchains, I think we could do better building on top of the SDK, of course. The next step is to connect blockchains. So it's not enough to just create one with its own tokens and governance. You want to connect with others to exchange tokens, exchange NFTs. For example, one blockchain is a DEX and your blockchain is a Twitter clone, right? You want to connect all these blockchains together to achieve this greater network effect. And the last point, of course, is you need to be able to launch these blockchains that you create. So with smart contracts, you upload them. With blockchains, it's a bit more involved, where you actually need a set of validators. It doesn't have to be necessarily like hundreds of validators. It could be like 5, depending really on the security requirements of your chain. But these are the things that we're looking towards right now, and we think we've done some good progress on at least first 2 for now. So the next thing I want to show to you is a demo of a CLI application that we've built that helps in blockchain scaffolding. It has a bunch of features that is very useful for blockchain developers, like live reloading, similar to what you would get in web development. It has web client scaffold, so it scaffolds a JavaScript application for you. We're working on a browser-based development environment. Now it supports interchain transactions, it has developer tools, and much more. So now I would like to demo it for you. So if you go to github.com/tendermint/starport, if you scroll down, there is a very handy way of launching a development environment with Starport already built in. Of course, you can install it on your local machine, but this makes it even easier. So if you click on this link, you would open up a development environment will open up for you, and we can start coding. Of course, I won't be coding that much right now, but I'll just show what Starport is capable right now. So let's scaffold a blockchain called Hello with just Starport app Hello, and let's go inside and run Starport serve. Now it will install all the dependencies. It will build your application. So again, this is just a server running online with Starport pre-installed, nothing special, just a server with a text editor. So now we see that our blockchain has been built, and we can open up a welcome screen. And while we're waiting for user interface to build, we can copy one of the mnemonics, and as soon as it's loaded. And by the way, you can, of course, see the source code of it, and there's a handy config file which lists all the users that you have. You can change tokens, and it will reload instantly. So now that our user interface has loaded, we can go into it, paste the mnemonic, and we see our balance. We have a simple wallet, and of course, if we want, for example, if our blog application, if we're building a blog application based on a blockchain for some reason, we can scaffold types. So if we go into this hello directory and Starport type, let's say it's a post type and it has a title, it has a body. When we scaffold it, we see that it automatically added all the UI for our blockchain. Of course, we can start using it, sending tokens. That's all built in, and you can. This is a very handy kind of tool that lets you see what is going on, and you can use this as a baseline to build your blockchain further. So that's all well and good, but I think what's more interesting is actually an ability to connect blockchains. So let's remove this blockchain for now, and let's create new one. So I mean, it's just one command. Why not, right? Let's call this blockchain foo, and we'll use the latest version called Stargate. So with just one command, it will scaffold a blockchain for you, and again, we will run it. So while it's building, we'll open up a new development environment, same just one click of a button, and I have it already open. So there's nothing there except for some markdown documentation, and we'll also scaffold a blockchain here as well, because, well, to connect two, we need two. So let's say Starport app, GitHub, and we'll call it bar. We'll use the latest version. Well, so now we're launching two blockchains. We have on the left-hand side, we have one blockchain running, it's called Foo, and on the right side, we have a different one. So these are two blockchains running on separate machines. They're not connected with anything. They do not know about each other. And what we will do is we will copy this information about the blockchain. It's called relayer info. It's information about the relayer that runs alongside the chain. And what we will do is we will copy it, and in the other blockchain, we will use Starport chain add command to add it. First, we need to switch to this directory, and we will add it to our list of chains that we're connected to. And immediately you can see that the blockchain is reloading, and now it looks for the chain that we've passed. So it takes a while for it to actually connect, because the IBC protocol through which it connects requires some information exchange before the chains are actually connected. So acknowledgement that the chain is running fine. So we can see that Foo has been connected to bar. Now the connection is bidirectional, but we'll just use one chain to send tokens. So we're using a relayer binary application that is built alongside the chain to transfer tokens from chain Foo to chain bar. The token denomination is just token, so we'll just send to token. And we use relayer chains address bar to receive the address of the relayer. So what happens is a transaction is created on chain Foo, an IBC transaction. And the only thing we need to do is use relayer tx relay foo bar, and foo bar is the path. So you can see that one packet has been relayed to chain bar, and now we can use our built-in tools to list all the keys. Backend. We list all the keys, and we have the key bar. We have account bar, which is representing our chain right now. So we'll use bar BQ, bank balances, and we need the balance of this address. So we can see that 2 tokens has been transferred and has this weird denomination that it says IBC. Now, if we repeat this transaction and again relay it, should be able to see that our bank balance has changed to 4. So we can create networks of blockchains that are interconnected with each other. Now we've connected only 2 chains, but of course you can do more. You can open up Starport on your server and copy the relayer info to the first chain, and it will be like a growing network of blockchains. So one more cool thing that you can do is you can actually start building your application. So I won't be doing that right now, but let's say you've added some feature and you reset your blockchain, you can see that it automatically restarted the chain, and it will also reestablish the connection to the chain that we have connected to previously. So yeah, that was a short demo of Starport running with IBC. Now let's go back and kind of recap what happened, right? We've scaffolded, like in a span of a couple of minutes, we've scaffolded 2 new blockchains. We can customize them very easily, choose the denomination that we want to use, and we've established a connection between these 2 chains, send tokens, and we can connect them in a elaborate network of interconnected blockchains, which is very reminiscent kind of the diagram that I showed, right? You can create this network right now with the tools that we have. And of course, the last step that we will be focusing on is being able to launch this blockchain into production. So these chains that I've showed previously, they're running online. So they're on servers, right? They have URLs, you can connect to them, you can make queries, but it's not the same thing as production, right? For production, you want a set of validators. You want your Genesis file, which is the 0 block, to be coordinated, right? So you need to coordinate with your validators on how your chain will be launched. So to do that, we will be building a blockchain. It will be called Starport Network, and it will be primarily for coordinating decentralized launch of IBC-enabled blockchain networks. So basically, what it will do is it will be like a medium where both developers who want to launch blockchains will submit Genesis files, and validator candidates will submit their proposals as validators. So it will be like a meeting ground for developers, validators, and people who want to become validators as well. So we have big plans for Starport Network as a tool for coordinating different kind of entities in this network, so that we can make it very easy for people to both create blockchains, connect them, and launch them into production. So that's the vision behind Starport. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now I think we can switch to questions, and I'd be more than happy to answer if you have any questions. So I see that we have a question. Have any links been made to real-world assets through Cosmos? So yeah, that's a good question. So what I'm showing you right now is actually like a pre-release version. So IBC is scheduled to be released in well, let's say in a week or in a couple of weeks. It's pretty much release candidate. So there is a process of upgrading Cosmos Hub, which is the primary, not primary, but it's one of the chains that run right now based on Cosmos SDK and Tendermint. So I think Cosmos Hub will be one of the first to upgrade to IBC, and then we'll see connections. So right now it's kind of a testing ground, and we're kind of letting developers to even be ahead in some ways of building these networks of blockchains, even ahead of Cosmos Hub or any other blockchains. So yeah, I hope I answered this question. So I guess the difference between the traditional approaches that I want to really stress is that like people always think that blockchain development is necessarily smart contracts, and we are showing not the alternative approach, but like, well, yeah, you can say an alternative approach. You can always have smart contracts. We have COSM WASM, for example, which allows you to build contracts in Rust, which is pretty exciting. And we also have Ethermint, which allows you to build contracts in Solidity. So you can use Cosmos SDK and Tendermint, but use Solidity for smart contracts. So I don't see any more questions. I think I see in chat. Can you use that tool to connect a Tendermint-based blockchain with a non-Tendermint-based blockchain? So yeah, that's what projects like Peggy, I think, are working on. So it's really about the finality. So Tendermint has fast finality, and other blockchains may have other finalities, right? So there will be like a peg zone that connects chains with different finalities. But yeah, absolutely you can. It will just require an additional zone that will act as an intermediary. Well, you can think of it as a translation between the two languages, sort of like that. The next question is, how can I contact you to talk more about real-world integration? Yeah, of course. The best place, I guess, is Cosmos Network website. If you go to Cosmos Network, and if you scroll down, there is a link to our Discord. I guess I'll just share it in chat, so you won't have to do that manually. Yeah, please talk to us if you have any questions. We're very excited about this, and any kind of feedback is very, very helpful. And of course, real-world integration is kind of the main thing, right? We really want to build tools that not only look good on demos, but also like solve real-world problems, and that's what we're working on. Basically, Cosmos SDK, of course, has everything you need as it is, right? You can just start building with the SDK. Just to make it a bit clear, Starport is a tool that uses SDK that makes it easier to build blockchains. So it makes it easy to scaffold, makes it easy to run, to integrate cutting-edge features like IBC. We're working on it very fast to include all the new things that come up. Okay, we have one more question. What do you see as the strongest IBC use case in near term? Thanks for the question. Yeah, I think the main purpose of IBC is to fulfill this idea that you can actually have your blockchain serve your application needs, and if something else you need for your application, you can just connect with IBC. So instead of, for example, having a DEX or having, I don't know, some specific financial application on your chain, you actually don't need that. You can have DEX on a absolutely separate chain, connect with IBC, set up the connections so that like you transfer only the assets that you want to transfer, right? And that's it. So it's in a way it's a tool to extend the features of your blockchain, and the use cases are limitless, right? Because IBC is a very general purpose protocol. Some describe it as a way of metaphor, I guess, as what TCP is for the internet, IBC is for blockchains. And of course, it's not only for Cosmos SDK-based blockchains or even Tendermint-based blockchains. I know other projects implement IBC support as we speak because it's a very good idea in having your blockchain interoperate with other blockchains is just a very cool feature to have. So right now, I guess what you really can do if you're interested, and I think pretty much we're all interested in that, is you can start building your application and add IBC features later on. Like in 2 weeks, IBC will be released properly 1.0, and it will have all the documentation that will allow you to kind of start building a production-grade application. Is Starport production ready or under development? So to some degree, both. We've started working on this approximately 2 months ago. So I wouldn't say it's stable, but it's definitely very, very useful to start building things. So you don't necessarily have to use all the features that Starport provides. Some people just scaffold the blockchain and then they read Cosmos SDK docs and start building right away. And you don't even need to use Starport for running your blockchain. You can use SDK tools themselves. But for scaffolding, for having like a very quick start, for automatic restarts, which is actually very huge because, for example, web development. In web development, we've got accustomed to our environment kind of relaunching automatically as you save, and you get pretty much the same thing with Starport, which is very, very convenient because before that, you literally had to kill the process, launch it again. You had to reinitialize the chain, do all these steps every time you make a change, right? And when you just start building stuff, of course, you make mistakes and you want this feedback loop to be as short as possible. So for that, Starport is very, very handy. So Right now, there are two main versions of Cosmos SDK. One is kind of legacy that's stable, but that doesn't have IBC. It's called Launchpad, and we support that. And there's this new version that is coming very soon with IBC. It's called Stargate, and we support that as well, even though it hasn't been released yet. But if you want to build IBC-enabled applications, and I think that's what you probably want to do, I think it's a good call to kind of be on the bleeding edge and start with Stargate. So yeah, Starport is useful for development, even in its current stage, but we're actively working on making it more stable. And of course, in chat you can see a link to the hackathon that we currently host. Very exciting, a lot of people participating. We see a huge amount of activity. Starport tutorials or documentation. Yeah, absolutely. So in the Starport GitHub, you will see a docs directory with some markdown files, but we also have a tutorials website. We've updated all our tutorials for Starport. I'm sending a link in chat. Are you finding any markets that are gravitating towards Cosmos versus other ecosystems? Well, specific markets, it's really hard to say about specific markets, but what I will probably mention is not industries, but when you really want sovereignty, when you really can't build on top of like an existing blockchain for some reason, right? You need your blockchain to be your own. You need to control over it. But at the same time, you really don't want to be like closed in, right? You need to communicate with others. I think this is the best use case for Cosmos when you want not to depend on others, right? You want to build your own blockchain. You want to do it quick. You want to be able to interoperate with other Cosmos SDK blockchain as well as Ethereum in the future. Then Cosmos is definitely one of the best tools in the toolbox for that. So yeah, I think it can work for any market, but I think like sovereignty is the key word, right? When you want both the network effect and being able to control your application. Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to discussing this as well. I mean, we're very excited and we're looking forward to people kind of joining the community, contributing, and just like using our tools. We're building very actively. So I guess thanks so much for everyone, to everyone for listening in, and yeah, hope to see you soon.
Awesome. This was a really great talk. We're gonna transition to our next session now. Thanks again.
Goodbye.